Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this PowerPoint. Hope you like my camel off to the side there. Le passé composé versus the imparfait. This gives a lot of people a hard time, and I just want to give you an idea about how to use it. If you keep this in mind, you should be fine. All right, the differences in a nutshell. The passé composé, when time is involved, for instance, it started at 3, ended at 4. There are very specific times involved. When the action stopped and finished and wasn't ongoing. I'll explain this more later. Always with time, and there are no exceptions here, so you should be really happy about that. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll explain it again in just a minute. An ongoing action, descriptions, both physical and emotional, and habitual actions. All right, let's take a look. Examples of the passé composé. Il est venu à la maison. He came to the house. We don't have any other information about it. We know he came. Bam, done. Nous sommes arrivés à 8 heures. Specifically, we arrived at 8 o'clock. Vous avez parlé avec le professeur. You spoke with the teacher. J'ai mangé le pain. I ate bread. You can see these actions are very simple. They're not complex. They started, they stopped. You're done with them. Elle a attendu à la gare 3 heures. So she waited 3 hours at the train station. All right, let's look at the imparfait. We'll start with time. You see over here you have time, and what I mean by time is il était 3 heures de l'après-midi. Explains specifically what the time was, not, the passé composé. If we go back and look, we arrived at 8 o'clock. All right, this is telling time. Il était 3 heures de l'après-midi. An ongoing action, Marc marchait au travail quand le chien l'a mordu. He was walking. All right, I'm going to bring this up a little bit in just a little bit. But right now, keep in mind, when you have that was-ing or were-ing, it's going to be normally the imparfait. Habitual actions. These are actions you did over and over and over and over again. So, lorsque je vivais en France, j'allais au café tous les jours. While I was living there, I would go every day to the cafe. Okay, these were habitual actions. Also, descriptions are really important, and sometimes we don't realize what a description actually is. We think, okay, this is an action verb, but take a look at some of these descriptions. Il était grand, he was tall. Nous portions des uniformes. We were wearing uniforms. I know wearing seems like an action verb, but it's describing someone's physical state. Nous portions des uniformes. Jean-Paul et Jeanne avaient les yeux bleus et les cheveux noirs. So they had blue eyes, black hair. Again, physical descriptions. The descriptions, however, can also be emotional. Il se sentait triste. He felt sad. Okay, this is describing his emotional state. Elles étaient rigolos. They were funny. Okay, this is describing what kind of people they are. Vous étiez très fâché. You were really mad. Okay, also describing a state of being. All right, sometimes the imparfait has an equivalent in English. It does not all the time, so you cannot rely on it all the time. But there are some equivalents. For instance, was-ing, I was walking. This is an ongoing action. All right, we have specific words for it in English, and I'm not going to bother you with that. But in French, this is going to be the imparfait. He was wearing. They were wearing. They were walking. So the was-ing or were-ing is going to be the imparfait. And would do something. In French, you really don't have an equivalent of these modal verbs and the past tense, like would, should, could, things like that. So they have to use different tenses to get around that. So I would go every year to visit my grandparents. J'allais tous les ans. Je visitais tous les ans mes grands-parents, etc. Okay? These are always used in the imperfect, at least to my knowledge. Le passé composé et l'imparfait côte à côte. Okay, so here we have j'ai dansé à la fête. I danced at the party. Je dansais à la fête quand la musique s'est arrêtée. Je dansais here is telling us that there's an ongoing action when this passé composé stopped that action. Il est allé chez ses grands-parents une fois en été. He went there only one time. Il allait chaque été voir ses grands-parents. He would go every summer to see his grandparents. Elle est devenue fâchée. So this is an action. Even though we have fâché, and you're thinking, okay, wait a minute, that's a description, it's a state of mind. It's not. She became that. Elle est devenue fâchée. She became. So that's an action because she became that. Whereas over here, elle était fâchée describes her state of mind. Ils ont pleuré. This is an action. They cried. Ils étaient tristes. A description. Okay, it describes how they were feeling. All right, some cue words like the passé composé. If you see hier, typically it's going to be an action that started and stopped, and it's in the passé composé. À whatever time, heure, à 8 heures, à 3 heures, à 5 heures is also going to be in the passé composé. Une fois, only did it once, so it can't be ongoing. It can't be any of these kind of habitual actions and things like that we're used to with the imparfait. De temps en temps can be used with the imparfait. From time to time, I would do this. De temps en temps, je visitais mes grands-parents en été. From time to time, I would do this. Toujours, tout le temps, all the time. Souvent, often. There are so many more cue words out there, and do think about that when you see these cue words or another word in the sentence. They're trying to give you a clue about what tense you would put it in. Okay, let's do some practice here, some pratique. Elle visite Paris tous les étés. What would you put this in? Would it be the passé composé or the imparfait? Now, I might go a little bit faster than you, so feel free to pause it and try and figure it out, and then come back. Elle visitait Paris tous les étés. Il regarde un film. He watches a film. Il a regardé un film. He watched a film. Nous sommes contents. We're happy. Nous étions contents. We were happy. Elle nage dans la mer. Hier is your clue. Hier, elle a nagé dans la mer. I really hope this helps you to understand the passé composé better. Thanks for listening.